You were not born to live at the mercy of moods. You were built to command them. Every day, your mind will offer you the softer path. Rest instead of responsibility. Comfort instead of courage. Tomorrow instead of today. That is the silent theft of potential. Growth begins the moment you stop negotiating with those whispers and decide that action, not emotion, sets the rhythm of your life. Discipline is not punishment, it's power. It's the moment you choose the harder thing when it matters, finish what you start, and act before you feel ready. Each time you override hesitation, you teach your brain a new truth. I move first. Feelings follow. Action rewires the circuit of fear into the circuit of focus. You don't need to wait for motivation. Emotions are weather, useful to notice, dangerous to steer by. Decide once, execute daily. Shrink the gap between choice and movement until it disappears. Because every time you act, you reclaim attention, energy, and identity from the grip of delay. This audiobook is not about becoming robotic. It's about freedom, the kind that comes when your mind listens to your decisions, not the other way around. You will learn to do what you avoid, to move through resistance without drama, and to master the inner war between impulse and intention. The rule is simple. Act now. Feel later. Once you begin, momentum replaces fear, and confidence becomes chemistry, not hope. This is how discipline turns from effort into identity. Your life changes the moment you stop waiting to feel ready and start moving anyway. If you're ready to rise above the noise, like the video, it tells YouTube you're choosing awareness over autopilot. Subscribe now and don't miss the next chapter in your evolution. And remember, the deepest transformation belongs to those who stay until the very end. Chapter 1. Finish what you avoid. You already know the weight of avoidance. It lingers in the back of your mind. That email unsent, that project half-finished, that promise waiting in the corner of your conscience. Each unfinished task steals more energy than it would take to simply complete it. Avoidance is not rest. It is resistance wearing the mask of comfort. The moment you delay what you know must be done, you hand your power over to hesitation. Human psychology calls this the Zeigarnik effect, the tendency of your mind to obsess over incomplete actions. Every open loop hums quietly in the background, draining focus and creating tension. The cure is simple, but not easy. Close the loop. Finish what you started. The relief you feel afterward is not just emotional, it's biochemical. Completion floods your brain with dopamine, the molecule of progress, not pleasure. It teaches your nervous system that safety lives on the other side of action, not avoidance. This is why the smallest finished task can shift an entire day. When you take control of one avoided action, you set off a chain reaction. You prove to your brain that movement ends anxiety. You remind yourself that clarity is earned through completion, not contemplation. Start small. Pick one thing you've been postponing, a message, a workout, a financial task, and do it today, not perfectly, but fully. Feel the tension leave your chest. That release is your proof. The energy you seek is locked inside the work you resist. Understand this. Avoidance is self-betrayal in slow motion. Each time you move something from today's list to tomorrow's, you teach your subconscious that delay is acceptable. That lesson multiplies until your mind no longer believes your own commands. Finishing what you avoid is not about productivity. It's about rebuilding trust. Write down what you've been avoiding. See it clearly. Bring the unseen into sight. Then create a rule that ends negotiation. Never carry the same avoided task into tomorrow. This rule rewires your identity faster than any motivation speech ever could. When you live by it, your brain learns that you close loops, you finish what others postpone, and that identity becomes armor. Science meets spirit here. In physics, incomplete circuits waste energy through resistance. In human energy, incomplete actions do the same. Every unfulfilled promise leaks power from your field. Every completion seals it again, restoring coherence. The alignment between your thoughts, emotions, and actions. When you finish what you avoid, you call your scattered energy home. You will be tempted to wait until you feel ready. Don't. Readiness is a mirage that moves farther away the longer you stare at it. The law of momentum is this. Action creates energy. Hesitation consumes it. If you cannot finish the big thing today, finish one small piece, a sentence, a call, a paragraph. Movement itself dissolves resistance. Every time you face what you've been running from, you rise a little higher in your own estimation. That is how confidence is truly built, not through affirmations, but through proof. Proof that you can act when your mind whispers not to. Proof that you can finish what you start. There will always be another task waiting. That's not the problem. The problem is the pattern of avoidance. Break the pattern, and the specifics no longer matter. This is your new ritual: awareness, action, completion. List, face, finish. Do it every day until it becomes instinct. You will notice the change quickly. Sleep comes easier. Focus sharpens. The fog lifts. You stop living beneath the weight of unfinished things. You start moving lightly, clearly, freely. That is not coincidence. It is chemistry. Action clears cortisol. Completion stabilizes serotonin. Movement reclaims peace. So today, right now, look at the smallest avoided task in your world. Don't think, just act. Finish it and feel your body exhale. That breath is your reward. It is also your reminder that the hard thing is not the work itself. The hard thing is the waiting. Make this the way you live. Leave no open loops. The mind loves closure because the soul loves order. Every time you finish something you once avoided, you bring order back to your inner world. You prove to yourself that avoidance no longer owns you. Finish what you avoid, not someday, not later, not when things calm down. Finish it now and watch how quickly your life follows. Chapter 2. Choose the harder option. Every crossroads in your life whispers two invitations, one toward ease, one toward expansion. The easier path offers comfort, validation, the illusion of rest. The harder path offers growth, clarity, and strength. But it demands effort first. Your entire future is sculpted by how often you accept that second invitation. Discipline isn't born in grand moments. It's shaped in these quiet daily choices between the convenient and the challenging. Every time you choose ease, your brain learns to expect comfort. It rewires itself toward fragility, building neural patterns that favor safety over strength. But when you repeatedly choose what's harder, something ancient awakens in you. The prefrontal cortex begins to override the limbic system, and the circuits for delayed gratification strengthen. This is not willpower alone. It is biology, refined by intention. The brain adapts to whatever you rehearse most. If you rehearse struggle, it stops feeling like struggle. It becomes your new baseline. You have felt this before. The first week of waking early is agony, but by the third, your body expects it. The first cold shower shocks you, but by the 10th, it steadies you. Pain becomes signal, not suffering. The same law governs emotional and spiritual evolution. When you consciously take the harder choice, you increase your capacity to hold energy, attention, responsibility. You become a larger vessel, less reactive, more stable. Understand this. Discipline is not denial. It is direction. You are not punishing yourself. You are pointing your energy toward creation. Think of a river. When it floods without banks, it destroys. When contained, it powers cities. Your harder choices are the banks that channel your life force into purpose. So, how do you train this? Begin by noticing. Awareness is the first edge of power. Each moment offers a binary: delay or act, numb or face, scroll or study, comfort or progress. Ask yourself in real time, what is the harder choice right now? That question cuts through noise like a blade, and when the answer appears, move toward it without hesitation. The first seconds of resistance are the true battle. After that, momentum carries you. Neuroscience calls this the activation barrier. Once crossed, dopamine flows differently. It no longer rewards anticipation of comfort, but the pursuit of challenge. You begin to feel good not because something got easier, but because you became stronger. That shift is freedom. From a cosmic perspective, every harder choice expands your energetic field. When you act against inertia, you emit coherence. Your inner world aligns with will instead of whim. The universe mirrors that alignment back to you through opportunity and synchronicity. Call it resonance, karma, or neurochemistry. It doesn't matter. What matters is that the universe, like your brain, responds to evidence. It multiplies whatever energy you embody most. There is also a psychological truth beneath this. Every easy choice weakens trust in yourself. Each harder choice strengthens it. Think of these decisions as deposits into your self-respect account. Every time you keep a hard promise, you add to your internal wealth. Every time you compromise for comfort, you withdraw. The balance shows in how you walk, how you speak, how you meet your reflection in silence. The harder path is not always obvious. Sometimes it's resting when your ego demands work. Sometimes it's speaking truth instead of staying silent. The measure is not pain, it's alignment. The right kind of difficulty brings expansion, not depletion. You know it by its aftermath. Peace follows effort that serves your evolution. Anxiety follows indulgence that feeds your avoidance. Practice this calibration daily. At every small decision, meal, movement, conversation, pause and ask, which option builds me? Then choose that one. If both seem equally neutral, choose the one that stretches your comfort zone even slightly. These micro-choices forge macro strength. Soon, the habit of difficulty becomes your new comfort. You stop waiting for easy days because you've built yourself to thrive in hard ones. That is when life opens its higher doors. Hard choices are never punishment. They are invitations to meet the version of you that ease could never reveal. Every time you choose the harder option, you're not just training your mind. You're realigning your destiny. Chapter 3. Master the escape impulse. Your mind is clever. The moment discomfort rises, it begins plotting your exit. Do it later, it whispers. You've earned a break. It disguises avoidance as self-care, distraction as rest, delay as strategy. But beneath every excuse lies the same reflex: escape. If you do not master this impulse, it becomes your quiet ruler. You will live a life of half-finished efforts and half-felt peace. This impulse is not proof of weakness. It is biology. The human brain was designed to seek safety and avoid pain. Thousands of years ago, that instinct kept you alive. Today, it keeps you small. Growth, challenge, and creation all trigger the same alarm the brain once reserved for danger. It doesn't know the difference between a tiger and a tough conversation. between starvation and studying, between threat and effort. Your task is to teach it. The first step is awareness. The moment you feel that urge to check your phone, wander from your desk, or convince yourself that 5 minutes won't hurt, pause. Don't judge the feeling. Just name it. Escape. When you name the impulse, you pull it from the shadows of habit into the light of consciousness. You move from being the mind to being the one who observes it. That small shift is the beginning of mastery. Now, interrupt the loop. Take one breath. Slow, deliberate, through the nose. Feel the air move. Say quietly, "I see it." That single act of noticing reactivates your prefrontal cortex, the part of you capable of decision. In those few seconds, you've turned chaos into clarity. You've reminded your brain that discomfort is not danger. Next, redirect the energy. Don't run from the task. Face it in fractions. Tell yourself, "I'll stay with this for 5 more minutes." This small reframe breaks the illusion of overwhelm. Usually, once you begin again, the resistance softens. It's not the work that's painful. It's the act of running from it. The longer you flee, the more your energy fractures. The moment you return, coherence is restored. Spiritually, escape is energy leakage. Every time you flee from presence, your power disperses into noise, notifications, fantasies, worries. Every time you stay, you reclaim that energy. Presence is not stillness. It is power gathered. Think of a beam of light. Diffused, it warms nothing. Focused, it burns through steel. That focus is born from choosing not to escape. There is also an emotional layer. Most escape patterns aren't about the task itself, but the feeling beneath it. Fear of failure, shame, uncertainty. When those emotions surface, your brain offers distraction as relief. But avoidance doesn't erase emotion, it stores it. Those buried feelings become tension in your body, restlessness in your sleep, dullness in your joy. The only cure is presence. Face the emotion without judgment. Say, "I can feel this and still act." That statement rewires everything. You stop running and start integrating. Design your environment to make escape harder. Keep your phone out of reach while you work. Clear your space of clutter. Physical mess mirrors, mental noise. If you share your goals aloud or track them visibly, your brain loses its secret hiding places. Visibility destroys avoidance. Accountability is another weapon. When escape hides in silence, tell someone what you plan to do today. Even a journal counts. That record becomes a mirror. You'll think twice before breaking a promise that's been made visible. Each time you resist escape, you lay down a new neural path, a road where courage replaces avoidance. At first, this feels awkward, like walking uphill. But repetition builds ease. What once triggered retreat will soon trigger action. You'll notice it. Where you used to flee, you now breathe. Where you used to procrastinate, you now move. The real victory is not just finishing the work. It's transforming your relationship with discomfort. Discomfort becomes signal, not stop. You'll start to feel strangely alive in moments that once scared you. That's because you are present. Presence is the end of running. So today, catch your next escape. Notice it, breathe once, and stay. Let the urge rise and fall like a wave. You'll see that it always passes. And what remains afterward is power, focus, and peace. The doorway to freedom was never somewhere else. It was right here, in the moment you stopped running. Chapter 4. Do the work even when your feelings fight you. There will come mornings when you wake up heavy, your thoughts dull, your energy low, your emotions whispering, "Not today." Those are the moments that define the rest of your life. Anyone can act when it feels easy. The real test is whether you move when your feelings beg you to stop. The ability to act independent of emotion is the highest form of discipline. It is self-mastery in motion. Your feelings are ancient messengers. They rise and fall based on sleep, nutrition, hormones, weather, words you heard yesterday, or memories you didn't realize were still alive. Yet most people surrender their destiny to these fluctuations, letting moods become masters. You must understand. Feelings are information, not instruction. They can be noticed, but not obeyed. When your body says, "I'm tired," you can still begin. When your mind says, "I'm not in the mood," you can still move. Once you start, you'll find that action reshapes emotion, not the other way around. This is neurochemistry. Motion triggers dopamine, progress builds momentum, and momentum creates motivation. Waiting for motivation before acting is like waiting for the flame before striking the match. Think of it as an inner dialogue between two voices. The first voice, the primitive one, seeks safety, familiarity, and rest. The second, the higher self, seeks growth, integrity, and purpose. Every time you act despite resistance, you strengthen the higher voice. Eventually, it becomes your natural tone. You don't silence the old voice, you outgrow it. The strategy is simple. Shrink the decision. When emotions rise, the full weight of a task feels unbearable. Don't focus on the entire mountain. Focus on one step. Tell yourself, "I will begin for 5 minutes." Sit, open the file, make the first call, move your body. You'll notice something miraculous. Once in motion, the emotional storm starts to dissolve. The mind's protest weakens in the face of movement. This isn't suppression, it's leadership. You are showing your emotions what direction to follow. Feelings are like children, loud, dramatic, and short-sighted. They don't need to drive the car. They just need to know someone steady is holding the wheel. That steadiness is you. Sometimes the resistance isn't laziness, but fear. Fear that effort won't be enough. Fear that you'll fail again. But here's the paradox. Effort itself is success. Each time you act while afraid, you prove that fear cannot stop you. The result matters less than the act of showing up. Even a single repetition of "I do the work regardless" reprograms your nervous system for resilience. There's also a cosmic truth here. Energy moves through action. Stagnation breeds confusion. Movement breeds clarity. When you take a step forward while uncertain, the universe aligns new information around that step. Doors open only for those already in motion. You cannot think your way into momentum. You must act your way into understanding. Build systems that protect you from your moods. Schedule your work, your workouts, your learning at fixed hours. Decisions made in calm are stronger than decisions made in chaos. When the time comes, follow the schedule, not the mood. This removes negotiation. You're not asking your feelings for permission. You're following a contract you already signed. Language matters too. When you tell yourself, "I don't feel like it," your brain hears a command to stop. Replace that phrase with, "It's time." Simple, direct, unemotional. The subconscious takes instruction, literally. Give it clarity, not complaint. Spiritually, this practice refines your vibration. When you act through low emotion, you affirm sovereignty over energy. You're telling the universe, "My state does not dictate my path. My intention does." That consistency builds an energetic signature of reliability. the kind of signal creation responds to. Reality bends toward those who act, even when the air feels heavy. The next time your emotions resist you, pause. Feel the weight without naming it good or bad. Then move anyway. Write the first line. Stretch your body. Begin the smallest motion. Watch how quickly emotion begins to follow effort, like a shadow rejoining its source. Remember, mastery isn't about never feeling low. It's about never letting low stop you. The moment you act in defiance of inertia, you reclaim authority over your life. Your feelings can visit, but they no longer get a vote. So, when the voice of resistance rises tomorrow morning, answer it calmly. You may stay, but I move anyway. Then do the work. That simple sentence, lived daily, will change everything. Chapter 5. Train your mind to stay steady under stress. Stress is not your enemy. It's a messenger, a call for expansion. Every challenge, every deadline, every uncertainty is simply energy asking to be organized. Most people collapse beneath that energy because they never learned how to translate it. They mistake pressure for punishment instead of potential. But when you train your mind to remain steady under stress, you transform that raw force into power. The difference between those who crumble and those who rise isn't circumstance. It's nervous system literacy. Under stress, your body launches an ancient survival sequence. The heart races, breath shortens, muscles tighten, and thoughts scatter. This is the body preparing to fight or flee. Yet modern life rarely requires either. So instead of running from tigers, you run from tasks. You scroll, overthink, avoid. The key is to reprogram this reflex, to teach your body that discomfort is not danger. Start with the breath. The fastest way to change the mind is through the body. When stress surges, don't argue with your thoughts. Anchor your physiology. Inhale deeply through the nose for 4 counts. Exhale slowly for 6. This longer exhale signals safety to the vagus nerve, the switchboard between brain and body. Within seconds, your heart rate steadies, your vision clears, your awareness returns. Calm is not an emotion, it's a skill, practiced breath by breath. Next, bring order to chaos. Stress thrives in vagueness. A mountain of unclear tasks feels unbearable because your brain cannot measure infinity. Write everything down, name the chaos, then reduce it to sequence. One action, one decision, one phone call. The moment you list it, you shrink it. The mind can handle almost anything, but not everything. Perspective is another weapon. When stress feels heavy, step back and reframe it. Instead of asking, "Why is this happening to me?" ask, "What is this preparing me for?" Pressure means the universe trusts you with weight. Diamonds are not formed in calm, they are forged in compression. The same physics applies to character. There is also a spiritual law beneath stress. Energy must expand or it stagnates. The bigger your vision, the more resistance you will feel, not as punishment, but as proof of potential. Stress is the friction between who you are and who you are becoming. If you meet it consciously, it sculpts you. If you avoid it, it breaks you. Exposure builds resilience. Don't hide from discomfort. Train with it. Lift slightly heavier weights. Speak when your voice shakes. Hold eye contact through awkward silence. Finish the work before resting. These small, voluntary pressures condition your system. You stop waiting for life to be easy and start becoming strong enough for life as it is. That is the real security, not in comfort, but in capacity. Structure also stabilizes the mind. Create rituals that ground you in the midst of storms. Morning movement, cold water, journaling, silent minutes of breathing. These become your anchors when chaos arrives. When everything feels uncertain, routine becomes proof that you are still in control of yourself. Remember, the goal isn't to eliminate stress, but to transmute it. Imagine stress as raw voltage. Untrained, it burns. Directed, it illuminates. Your breath, structure, and mindset are the wires that carry that current safely into purpose. You can also practice what athletes call stress inoculation. During calm moments, visualize yourself inside future pressure, performing, deciding, staying steady. Your brain rehearses reality. When the real moment arrives, it recognizes the pattern and stays calm. You're no longer surprised by stress. You're familiar with it. And above all, detach. Stress becomes unbearable only when you fuse it with identity. When you believe, I am this problem, the weight multiplies. Step back and see it clearly. You are not the storm. You are the space it moves through. The storm will pass. You remain. That realization is spiritual maturity, the ability to experience chaos without losing inner silence. When life feels too loud, return to the body. Breathe deeper. Write the next step. Choose presence over panic. Remember, stress is just energy. Energy obeys the mind that stays steady enough to direct it. Each time you hold still while the world shakes, you reinforce an unbreakable truth. Peace is not found in calm conditions. It's created by a calm mind. That is how strength is built. Not by avoiding pressure, but by learning to hold it without breaking. Chapter 6. Push forward when laziness whispers to stop. Laziness doesn't always roar. Most often, it arrives as a whisper. It sounds reasonable, even kind. You've done enough. You can do it tomorrow. Rest a little longer. It speaks softly, but its effect is brutal. It steals dreams not through chaos, but through comfort. Laziness is the most persuasive liar in the human mind, because it disguises itself as mercy. You know this voice. It appears right at the edge of progress. When the last few minutes of work could define your momentum, when one more repetition could shift your strength, when one more honest effort could change the outcome. That's when the whisper calls. If you listen, you surrender the moment where transformation begins. The difference between average and exceptional isn't talent. It's what you do in that whisper's pause. Understand this. Laziness isn't the absence of energy. It's the misdirection of it. You spend the same energy rationalizing delay that you could spend completing the task. It's mental friction. All movement, no progress. The cure is movement in any form. Stand up. Change posture. Breathe deep. Motion resets the nervous system. Once the body moves, the mind follows. Psychologically, laziness is a negotiation between two selves, the immediate self that wants comfort and the future self that wants freedom. Each time you choose comfort, you betray your future. Each time you push forward, you protect it. Visualize your future self watching you right now, grateful or disappointed. That image will tell you what to do next. Here's the rule. When laziness whispers to stop, do a little more. Not forever. Just a little more. If you promised yourself an hour, stay 10 extra minutes. If you planned 20 push-ups, do 22. If you intended to write 1 page, finish 1.5. This small rebellion rewires identity faster than any motivation technique. You become the person who goes beyond their own limits, quietly, consistently. There's science in this. Every time you override the stop impulse, you strengthen the anterior cingulate cortex, the part of the brain that detects conflict and drives persistence. Over time, resistance feels smaller because your brain adapts to overcoming it. What was once effort becomes normal. That's how discipline becomes instinct. Spiritually, pushing forward is an act of energetic integrity. When you stop prematurely, you leave energy unexpressed, unfinished cycles that clutter your field. When you continue until completion, you release that energy fully. You walk away lighter, cleaner, in harmony with the rhythm of creation. It's why finishing hard things feels like peace, not exhaustion. Peace is the sound of coherence. Laziness also thrives in vagueness. When you don't define the finish line, the mind finds endless reasons to stop early. Clarity kills comfort. Instead of saying, "I'll work out," say, "I'll run 2 kilometers." Instead of, "I'll study," say, "I'll review 5 pages." When the goal is concrete, the brain has no room to bargain. The task becomes finite, and therefore doable. Do not confuse this with cruelty to yourself. True self-care is keeping promises, not avoiding effort. Rest that follows, discipline feels like renewal. Rest that replaces it feels like regret. The body needs recovery. The soul needs follow-through. Honor both by earning the right to stop. When the whisper comes, and it always will, smile at it. Recognize it as proof that you're near the edge of growth. The mind only resists what matters. That whisper is the guardian of your next level, testing whether you truly mean what you say. Pass the test. Go a little longer. Every push, no matter how small, compounds. Each defiance of comfort builds an unseen layer of strength. After weeks of repetition, you'll notice something profound. The whisper grows quieter. It doesn't disappear, but it loses its power. You stop waiting for the right feeling to work. You simply work. And in that simplicity, freedom returns. So, the next time laziness tells you you've done enough, reply calmly. 1 more. 1 more minute. 1 more rep. 1 more act of presence. And then another. That rhythm, soft, relentless, unwavering, is how an ordinary person becomes extraordinary. Chapter 7. Win over your mind by keeping simple promises. Your mind is always listening. Every word you speak to yourself becomes a contract, not with the world, but with your own subconscious. When you say, "I'll do it later," and you don't, your mind takes note. When you say, "I'll start tomorrow," and break that promise, your mind remembers. And slowly, belief erodes. You stop trusting yourself, not because you failed the world, but because you failed your own word. The truth is, confidence is built from integrity, and integrity begins with the smallest agreements. Wake up when you said you would. Drink the water you promised. Finish the task you set for yourself, even if no one is watching. These simple promises are sacred training. Every time you keep one, your brain records a victory. I can rely on me. That's how true power begins. Not in motivation, but in self-trust. Think of it this way. Every promise you make is a brick. Each kept promise builds a wall of strength. Each broken one removes a brick from that wall. The higher the wall, the steadier you feel inside it. But when you constantly break promises, even tiny ones, you live without shelter from your own doubt. Start rebuilding today with micro-commitments. Don't declare that you'll transform your life overnight. Promise one small thing and keep it completely. It could be 10 push-ups, 1 paragraph, or 15 minutes of focus. The size doesn't matter. Completion does. The mind doesn't count scale. It counts consistency. Neuroscience backs this truth. Each kept promise activates your brain's reward circuitry, releasing dopamine and strengthening the neural link between intention and action. Over time, that circuit becomes automatic. You no longer need to force yourself. Your brain expects follow-through. Discipline stops feeling like effort and starts feeling like identity. Spiritually, these promises are alignment rituals. Every time your actions match your words, your energy field harmonizes. The gap between who you say you are and who you actually are begins to close. That's why keeping small promises feels peaceful. Your soul stops negotiating with itself. You are whole, even in simplicity. To make this practical, use the rule of 3. Each day, set 3 promises you will not break. They must be specific, measurable, and achievable. Write them down where you can see them. Complete them before you sleep, no matter how late, no matter how small. Over time, your brain will start associating daylight with reliability. You'll move through your day with quiet certainty, the kind that can't be faked. Protect these promises as you would a vow. Never overpromise to impress yourself. Pride from a broken big goal is worth less than peace from a completed small one. Progress built on realism compounds faster than fantasy built on hype. And when you slip, because you will, repair it immediately. Don't drown in guilt. Guilt is the ego's way of pretending to care while avoiding correction. The only apology your mind believes is action. Do the task, even late. The moment you follow through, you reseal trust. This habit also changes how you handle the world. When you keep promises to yourself, you become less dependent on external validation. You no longer need people to believe in you. You already do. That self-trust radiates. Others feel it. They start to rely on you because you rely on yourself. There is profound peace in knowing your word is law, not to others, but within. Imagine waking each morning with the certainty that whatever you decide, you will do. No hesitation, no bargaining, no broken cycles. That is what simple promises build. A mind that no longer doubts, a spirit that no longer divides itself, a life anchored in quiet strength. So start now. Choose 3 promises for today. Small, clear, and honest. Keep them. Then tomorrow, choose 3 more. Watch how your self-respect deepens. Watch how your confidence grows without noise or applause. You are proving day by day that your word carries weight, and that is the foundation of unshakable discipline. Chapter 8. Act before your mind negotiates. There is a small window between knowing what you must do and talking yourself out of it. That window decides your entire life. Every breakthrough, every success, every healed habit begins in that split second where you either move or hesitate. Action delayed is energy decayed. The longer you wait, the more reasons your mind invents to protect you from growth. Your brain's oldest instinct is to conserve energy. It assumes anything unfamiliar is dangerous, even your own evolution. That's why hesitation feels logical. Your mind is trying to save you from imagined loss. But the truth is, in modern life, hesitation costs more than risk. Each time you delay, you strengthen the neural path of avoidance. Each time you act, you strengthen courage. There's a simple rule. The faster you act, the quieter fear becomes. The longer you think, the louder doubt grows. The solution isn't more analysis, it's motion. Don't wait until you feel ready. Readiness is built by doing. Here's how to win that moment. When the idea appears, go to the gym, send the message, start the project. Move within 5 seconds. Stand up, reach for your shoes, open the file. Any physical motion breaks the negotiation. You don't need full commitment, You need ignition. Once you begin, momentum carries you. Neuroscience explains this through the activation energy principle. Starting a task requires the most mental energy. But once begun, the brain releases dopamine to reward progress. It's not thinking that energizes you, it's doing. The first movement flips the switch from resistance to reward. Spiritually, this is how you align with flow. The universe responds to energy in motion. Hesitation blocks channels of opportunity. When you move, you signal readiness. Creation moves with you. Doors appear only for those already walking. Waiting for certainty is like standing on shore and asking the ocean to part before you swim. Life meets you halfway, but only after you start. Action without overthinking also rewires identity. Each time you decide quickly, you train your subconscious to trust instinct over fear. Over time, you stop analyzing everything to death. You stop fearing imperfection. You move like water, responsive, not reactive. This agility makes you magnetic. People trust those who act with clarity. You can build this muscle with the 1-minute rule. If a task takes less than a minute, reply, clean, organize, schedule. Do it immediately. That rule removes hundreds of mental micro-frictions daily. For bigger tasks, use the first step law. Never plan more than one step ahead until you've started. The mind can't procrastinate when it doesn't have the space to overthink. There will be times when fear disguises itself as logic. It's not the right time. I'll prepare first. I just need to research more. But deep down, you know the truth. These are elegant forms of delay. You don't need more information. You need movement. Progress creates clarity. Every time you catch yourself hesitating, say softly, "Now, not later," and then move. You don't need motivation. You need momentum. You'll notice that once you begin, the emotion you were waiting for, courage, excitement, purpose, appears like a shadow behind action. This is the paradox most never learn. Confidence doesn't precede action. It follows it. You don't wait to feel powerful to move. You move to remember your power. So, from this chapter onward, make a vow. No more overthinking the next step. You already know what to do. Your only job is to close the gap between thought and action until they become one motion. 5 seconds, one breath, one move. That's the distance between who you are and who you want to be. Chapter 9. Say yes to discipline every day. Discipline is not a single act of will. It's a daily declaration. Every morning before the world begins to test you, you must decide who you are. Not who you hope to be, not who you plan to become someday, but who you choose to be today. That single yes, repeated daily, reshapes everything. Discipline is not punishment. It is self-respect in motion. It's the art of honoring your future self before your emotions catch up. Each time you follow through on what you said you'd do, you make a quiet announcement to the universe. I am trustworthy. I am ready. I am building something real. And life responds to that signal. Most people think discipline means restriction, but in truth, it's the opposite. Discipline removes chaos. It removes the exhausting need to decide again and again. When you set standards and live by them, your energy returns to creation instead of conflict. The freedom you seek is hiding inside your structure. Start by defining your standards clearly. What do you do every day, no matter how you feel? Maybe it's an hour of focused work before distractions begin, a workout no matter the weather, reading instead of scrolling. These aren't tasks. They're proof of alignment. Every standard you keep raises the frequency of your life. The hardest part isn't the work itself. It's the internal debate before it. The mind loves to negotiate. Do I really need to do this now? Maybe later. Just one day off. The disciplined person ends that debate early. They act without permission. The decision has already been made. Neuroscience confirms this truth. Pre-deciding tasks conserves mental energy and reduces decision fatigue. When your brain knows what to expect, it resists less. That's why soldiers, monks, and elite performers thrive in routine. Their minds are freed from the weight of constant choice. You don't need military rigidity. You need clarity. Spiritual traditions echo the same wisdom. Devotion is daily. Whether you call it prayer, practice, or discipline, it's the same vibration. Consistency over mood. When your actions repeat with intention, they become a sacred rhythm. Every repeated effort etches a new identity into your soul. I am someone who shows up. On days when resistance feels strong, simplify the goal. Tell yourself, I don't need to do everything. I just need to keep the chain unbroken. One action, however small, maintains momentum. That act protects your identity. Even 10 minutes of effort honors your promise, and that is enough. Remember, progress doesn't require perfection. It requires proof. The proof that you are willing to say yes again today. That yes is not shouted, it's whispered in every choice. I'll wake up now. I'll keep my word. I'll move even when no one sees. Discipline compounds invisibly. 1 week you feel proud. 1 month you feel solid. 6 months later, people ask what changed. But nothing changed overnight. You simply said yes to the same small things, more times than anyone else was willing to. That repetition became your revolution. There's a deeper beauty in this too. When discipline becomes your natural state, effort disappears. The work stops feeling heavy. You no longer fight with yourself. You move fluidly through days that used to drain you. This is mastery. Not the absence of struggle, but the quiet certainty that no feeling will ever decide your future again. So tomorrow, when your alarm rings and the old thoughts return, just 5 more minutes, maybe later, maybe tomorrow. Smile and answer softly. Today again. Yes. That yes builds worlds. Chapter 10. Let action lead the mind. The mind is a master storyteller. It will spin infinite reasons why you're not ready, why you should wait, why the timing isn't right. But here's the truth most never learn. Clarity does not come before action. It comes from action. You don't think your way into movement. You move your way into understanding. Action is the most honest form of thought. When you act, you reveal what you truly believe, not what you say you believe. The gap between your intentions and your behavior is where your potential either dies or comes alive. Most people live stuck in that gap, rehearsing decisions they never execute, waiting for a mythical alignment of mood and motivation. But life rewards motion, not intention. The secret is simple. Do first, align later. When you move, even imperfectly, you activate feedback loops that thinking alone can never produce. Your brain begins adjusting, learning, refining. Progress becomes self-correcting, but only once you start. The mind loves certainty, but certainty is earned through movement, not contemplation. There is neuroscience behind this. Every time you act, you trigger the action-reward circuitry. Dopamine, not for the result, but for the process. Your brain literally begins to crave completion. Action creates emotion. Completion creates confidence. The longer you stay still, the more anxiety festers. Movement releases trapped energy. So the next time you feel paralyzed by thought, Don't analyze the fear. Shrink the problem into a single motion. Send the message. Stand up. Open the file. Take the first literal visible step. The moment your body moves, your mind follows. The brain trusts the body more than the body trusts the brain. Use that to your advantage. Spiritually, action is prayer made physical. When you move toward a goal with clear intent, you align your will with creation. The universe doesn't respond to idle thought. It responds to energy in motion. Action emits a frequency that says, I am ready. In that readiness, opportunities, people, and timing begin to organize around you. The divine doesn't assist hesitation. It meets movement. There's also power in embracing imperfection. Perfectionism is just procrastination in disguise, a fear of being seen unfinished. But the universe values sincerity over flawlessness. Each imperfect action sends a message. I am willing to learn publicly. And life always rewards willingness more than polish. Train yourself to measure days by execution, not ideas. Ask nightly, what did I complete today? Not what did I plan? The goal is to live inside verbs. To be someone who writes, not someone who plans to write. Someone who creates, not someone who thinks about creating. Action is identity made visible. If you ever doubt this, test it. When you feel lost, do something small that's in the direction of order. Clean your desk, reply to one message, take one walk. Notice how instantly your mood begins to shift. Clarity returns, not because you found answers, but because you stopped feeding confusion with inertia. You'll also notice that once you act, help arrives. Insights, coincidences, timing that feels too precise to be random. This isn't magic, it's momentum. The universe can't steer a parked car. Movement gives it something to work with. There is a rhythm to all creation. Thought, action, refinement, alignment. Most people loop endlessly in the first stage. The disciplined ones keep completing the cycle. They move, learn, adjust, repeat. That rhythm compounds into mastery. So stop waiting for your mind to be quiet. Stop asking for courage before you begin. Let the act itself be the cure. You don't need to know everything. Just the next step. Action will show you the second. The future is not built by thinkers. It's built by doers who refine as they go. Act now, even clumsily, even unsure, and let your mind catch up later. Chapter 11. Design your environment to win. Discipline is easier when the world around you supports it. Willpower alone is a fragile resource. It burns fast, fades quickly, and disappears when stress rises. But environment is constant. The spaces you live and work in quietly program your behavior long before motivation even wakes up. If you want to change your life, start by changing the architecture of your days. Every environment either pulls you forward or drags you back. A cluttered room breeds cluttered thoughts. A desk filled with distractions invites escape. The phone within reach whispers 1,000 exits from effort. But the same brain, placed in a clear space with deliberate cues, water beside you, phone out of sight, task visible, suddenly finds focus natural. Success is rarely about willpower. It's about design. Your surroundings are a mirror of your priorities. If your environment tells the story of randomness, your life will echo it. Begin small. Clear one table. Remove one distraction. Rearrange one corner of your world to match the person you're becoming, not the person you've been. Every object, every sound, every digital notification is a vote, either for your discipline or against it. This is neuroscience in action. The brain constantly scans for cues that trigger behavior. If your triggers lead to distraction, a phone lighting up, a tab left open, a couch too close to your workspace, you will fight uphill daily. But if your triggers point toward progress, a journal left open, gym clothes ready, a visible to-do list, action happens almost automatically. Create what psychologists call friction by design. Make bad habits harder to start and good ones easier to begin. Want to stop doom scrolling? Charge your phone across the room. Want to drink more water? Keep a bottle beside you. Want to read more? Place a book where your eyes naturally land when you sit. The environment does half the work. Spiritually, your environment holds vibration. A disordered space emits noise, energetic interference that scatters attention. When you bring order to it, your energy field quiets. This is why cleaning can feel like meditation. You are not just organizing matter, you are organizing frequency. Each item you place with intention strengthens coherence between your inner and outer world. Design also includes your digital environment. Curate it ruthlessly. Unfollow what drains you. Hide apps that feed comparison. Set time limits that protect your mind from endless loops. The goal isn't isolation, it's intentional exposure. What you repeatedly see, you start to believe. What you believe, you eventually become. Extend this to your social environment. The people around you are living mirrors. Some remind you of your higher self. Others seduce you back into comfort. Audit your circle without guilt. You don't need to cut people off. Just adjust your proximity. Spend more time with those whose presence makes you want to rise. Your environment also includes sound and ritual. Music, lighting, scent. These are not trivial. They anchor states. Use them to condition focus. Light a candle before deep work. Play the same instrumental track during study. Over time, your brain associates these signals with performance. You won't have to push yourself. Your surroundings will pull you. When everything around you points in the same direction, discipline stops feeling like resistance. It becomes the path of least friction. That's the secret. Don't fight your environment. Design it so that success happens by default. Make your space a silent mentor. Let it whisper who you are becoming. When you enter your room, it should remind you of purpose. When you open your laptop, it should invite creation, not chaos. When you look around, you should see proof that you are living by design, not by drift. Change your environment, and your habits will follow. Change your habits, and your identity evolves. Change your identity, and the rest of your life realigns. So look around right now. Your desk, your home, your phone. Ask yourself one question. Does this space make my discipline easier or harder? Then begin rearranging your future, one object at a time. Chapter 12. Silence the war inside your head. The greatest battle you will ever fight will not be with another person, the system, or the world. It will be between two voices within you. One whispers for comfort, safety, and escape. The other calls you toward growth, discipline, and expansion. Every decision you make decides which voice becomes stronger. The first voice is soft, seductive. It speaks in logic that sounds kind. You've done enough today. You deserve a break. Maybe tomorrow. But this is not kindness. It is corrosion, dressed as compassion. Its goal is not peace. It's paralysis. The second voice is quieter, but firmer. It doesn't argue. It simply says, "Do it now." That is the voice of your higher self, and the one you must learn to obey. Silencing the war inside your head is not about erasing fear or doubt. It's about mastering response. You cannot stop the waves, but you can decide which ones you surf. The brain, left untrained, reacts to every emotion as if it were truth. But emotions are weather. They pass. Discipline is climate. It endures. When the inner noise gets loud, pause and breathe. Inhale through the nose, exhale through the mouth. This simple act anchors you in the present, pulling you out of the storm of thought. The body is your doorway to silence. When you slow your breath, you slow your mind. When you slow your mind, clarity returns. Understand this. Your thoughts are not commands. They are suggestions. You are the observer, not the voice. Watch your mind speak, but don't obey every word. This is the essence of mental sovereignty. Most people never achieve it. They live like servants to their own impulses. But when you separate the observer from the thought, you reclaim control. You become the driver, not the passenger. Spiritually, this silence is sacred. It's the space between thoughts where your true intelligence lives. The quiet witness that sees everything, yet remains untouched. That witness is who you are, beneath the noise. When you learn to access it, chaos loses its grip. The body calms, energy steadies, and you start to move through life with quiet power. Science mirrors this truth. Studies in neuroplasticity show that thoughts repeated become neural pathways. When you feed fear or procrastination, those circuits strengthen. But when you redirect your focus, breathe, act, persist, new pathways form. You literally rewire your brain for calm, clarity, and control. This is why discipline isn't just a mental skill. It's neurochemical mastery. Every time you override hesitation, your brain releases a small surge of dopamine, reinforcing the new pattern. Effort equals reward. Over time, the noise quiets because your brain learns that decisive action brings peace, not chaos. When you catch yourself spiraling, overthinking, doubting, replaying failures, ground yourself with a phrase: return to now. The present moment dissolves confusion, because confusion only exists in the mind's projections of the past and future. Here, in this breath, you have all the clarity you need. To train this skill, create small moments of silence daily. No phone, no music, no stimulation. Just 5 minutes of awareness, of breath, of body, of stillness. It will feel uncomfortable at first because the mind will resist stillness. But that resistance is the proof that you need it. With practice, silence will stop feeling empty and start feeling full. Full of direction, power, and truth. Remember, you are not here to eliminate the inner war. You are here to master it, to stand between the noise and decide. That decision, repeated daily, becomes your freedom. Chapter 13. The Science of Energy and Discipline. Every thought you think, every action you take, releases energy. Most people believe discipline is about time management, but in truth, it's energy management. When your energy is scattered across worries, distractions, and negative self-talk, no amount of scheduling will save you. But when your energy is directed and coherent, even simple actions gain exponential force. Physics calls this coherence. When frequencies align, power amplifies. A laser is simply light waves moving in one direction instead of chaos. Your life can work the same way. When your actions, intentions, and emotions move in alignment, you become focused like light turned to laser, able to cut through hesitation, resistance, and fear. Think of your energy as currency. Every complaint, doubt, or delay is a small withdrawal. Every focused action, promise kept, and boundary held is a deposit. Most people go bankrupt, not in time, but in energy, drained by unnecessary noise, relationships, and internal resistance. Discipline restores your energy by reducing leaks. Scientifically, the brain consumes about 20% of your body's energy. Every unfinished task, every unresolved decision burns glucose and attention in the background. That's why indecision feels exhausting. When you decide and act, the loop closes, energy returns. Action is not just progress, it's recovery. Spiritually, energy follows intention. When you align your will with your actions, you create flow. The state where time dissolves and effort feels effortless. This isn't mystical, it's measurable. In flow, dopamine, endorphins, and serotonin synchronize, producing deep focus and inner calm. You enter this state not by waiting for inspiration, but by starting, because action is the doorway to flow. Notice the patterns that drain or charge you. Conversations, media, foods, even thoughts carry frequency. After each activity, ask yourself, did this give me power or take it away? Adjust accordingly. The disciplined life isn't about deprivation, it's about energetic clarity. There's a reason ancient traditions link discipline with purity, not moral purity, but vibrational. When you reduce noise, your energy becomes fine-tuned, precise, directed. You start to feel an internal hum of quiet confidence. That frequency attracts order in every form: opportunities, people, synchronicities. The universe recognizes coherence. To cultivate this, practice 3 rituals daily. Ground the body. Move, stretch, breathe. Physical motion anchors energy and prevents stagnation. Clear the mind. Write down thoughts, tasks, and emotions each morning. Emptying the mind frees processing power. Center the intention. Before any major task, ask, why am I doing this? A clear why aligns the nervous system and keeps energy directed. The more you master energy, the less life feels like effort. You stop forcing and start flowing. Resistance fades because you're no longer fighting yourself. All systems move in one direction. Discipline, then, is not suppression. It's energetic mastery, the art of channeling your life force toward creation instead of fragmentation. When your energy is whole, success stops being a chase and becomes a natural consequence of alignment. Chapter 14. The Law of Momentum. Momentum is the invisible law that governs all transformation. It doesn't ask for brilliance, timing, or luck, only continuity. The universe itself is built on this rhythm: atoms in motion, planets in orbit, waves in repetition. Energy never stagnates. It either builds or decays. So does your life. When you act, you generate motion. That motion creates feedback, emotion, reward, progress, and that feedback fuels the next action. This is the self-reinforcing cycle of growth. But when you stop, hesitation enters, resistance grows, and your own energy begins to work against you. Stagnation feels heavy because motion is your natural state. Momentum is not speed, it's consistency. You can move slowly and still be unstoppable if you never stop moving. The smallest daily actions compound into irreversible change when done with intention. A single push doesn't launch a rocket, but repeated ignition, even at low force, escapes gravity. Discipline is your ignition. Psychologically, momentum rewires the brain. Each completion releases dopamine, reinforcing the neural pathways of progress. The more often you follow through, the easier it becomes to start again. What was once effort turns into autopilot. You no longer rely on motivation. You rely on inertia, the sacred physics of self-trust. Spiritually, momentum mirrors the principle of expansion. The universe rewards direction, not delay. Once you commit to movement, unseen forces align. Doors open, coincidences appear, timing improves. It is not magic. It is the resonance of commitment. The moment you move with conviction, reality begins to rearrange around your energy. Momentum also dissolves fear. Most fear thrives in the pause between thought and action. When you linger, the mind magnifies every uncertainty. But once you begin, the body takes over, and fear becomes irrelevant. The mind cannot scare a moving target. To harness this law, build micro-rituals that start your day in motion. 1 act, making your bed, hydrating, journaling, signals to your subconscious. We are moving. That single step sets the tone for the next. Momentum multiplies silently. It doesn't announce its growth. Days turn into habits. Habits turn into identity. Identity turns into destiny. You'll know you've built momentum when effort feels lighter. What once required discipline now feels like gravity, pulling you forward. That's the reward of consistency, a life that moves itself. But beware of breaks disguised as rest. True rest replenishes energy. False rest leaks it. A day off that restores clarity strengthens momentum. A day off that feeds avoidance destroys it. Learn the difference. Momentum does not demand perfection. You can stumble, slow down, even stop briefly, as long as you start again quickly. The key is not to let the gap widen. Each hour of delay increases resistance. Each immediate restart strengthens the circuit of trust. In physics, an object in motion stays in motion unless acted upon by an opposing force. In life, that opposing force is doubt, distraction, or self-criticism. Neutralize them through immediate movement. If you lose rhythm, find one small win to reignite motion. Momentum doesn't just carry your goals. It carries your energy signature into the world. People feel it. Opportunities gravitate toward it. Life itself begins to mirror your pace. You are not waiting for momentum. You create it, step by step, choice by choice, breath by breath. And once it builds, it becomes your quiet, unstoppable power. A current that moves through everything you do. Keep the current alive. Don't look for lightning. Become the storm. Chapter 15. Reprogramming your self-image. Everything you do rises or falls to the level of how you see yourself. You can build systems, routines, and plans. But if deep down you still identify as someone who quits, doubts, or hides, discipline will always feel like a fight against your own reflection. To change your behavior permanently, you must change the story you live inside. Self-image is the silent script running your life. It decides how much success you tolerate, how much love you accept, and how much effort you sustain. You can act disciplined for a while, but if your self-concept remains small, your subconscious will eventually pull you back to what feels familiar. You don't sabotage consciously. You return to identity. Science confirms this. Your subconscious mind controls about 95% of your behavior. It seeks safety in repetition, not truth. That's why affirmations without emotion don't work. They never reach the deeper layers of belief. To reprogram your self-image, you must combine repetition, emotion, and action. The new image must feel true through experience, not just words. Start by observing the current identity you defend. Listen to your inner dialogue. I've never been consistent. I'm not disciplined. I always procrastinate. These phrases are not descriptions. They're declarations. Every time you repeat them, you strengthen neural pathways that lock you inside the old version of yourself. To evolve, you must withdraw energy from that pattern. Replace those sentences with new instructions, not as empty affirmations, but as commands. I finish what I start. I am calm under pressure. I act even when I don't feel like it. Say them as if they are already true, and then back them up with one small action. The mind believes what the body proves. Spiritually, identity is vibration. You are not becoming something new. You are remembering a higher frequency that was always available. Discipline is the bridge that lets you hold that frequency long enough for the world to catch up. Visualization accelerates this process. Every morning before action, close your eyes and see yourself as the person who already lives your desired reality. How they stand, breathe, work, speak. Don't imagine the results. Imagine the energy. The brain doesn't distinguish between imagined and real experience. It wires circuits accordingly. When you visualize vividly, you create a blueprint for your nervous system to follow. Then act while the vision is alive. The first few days will feel unnatural because the old identity will fight to survive. That resistance is proof of transformation. Keep repeating, "This is who I am now." Eventually, the mind will stop arguing. The new self will become automatic. Here's the deeper truth. Your self-image does not expand by achievement. Achievement expands from it. You cannot outperform the story you believe about yourself. Rewrite that story consciously, and your outer world will align as obediently as a shadow. Every act of discipline is not about control. It's communication. It tells your subconscious, we are safe at this new level. Once the subconscious accepts safety and growth, expansion becomes effortless. You are not here to force yourself to be someone new. You are here to remember who you were before you learned to doubt yourself. Chapter 16. The Cosmic Equation of Cause and Creation. Everything you think, speak, and do is an equation of energy, cause and effect, written in motion. Discipline is the conscious rewriting of that equation. It's how you move from being a passive outcome of your thoughts to becoming their architect. Every action you take radiates frequency. That frequency interacts with the field, what science calls energy, what mystics call spirit, what philosophers call the logos. The field doesn't judge, it simply mirrors. If you act from hesitation, it echoes delay. If you act from certainty, it multiplies direction. The universe always answers vibration, not words. Most people try to change life from the outside. New jobs, new habits, new surroundings. But until the internal signal changes, the steady pulse of disciplined intent, the outer world stays the same. It's not punishment, it's resonance. You cannot attract a higher frequency while vibrating at the level of indecision. The cosmic equation is simple but exacting. Energy, belief x action. Reality. Belief alone is potential energy. Action alone is friction. But when aligned, they create momentum powerful enough to bend probability. Quantum physics has begun to describe this. The observer effect, the field responding to observation. But ancient wisdom knew it long ago. In silence, your intention vibrates. In discipline, your vibration crystallizes. The universe takes form around whatever you repeatedly confirm through thought, emotion, and motion. To work with this law, purify your inputs. Every thought is data shaping your field. Every emotion is a command, written in vibration. Choose them as carefully as you would a language that writes your destiny. Think of your mind as a cosmic terminal. Discipline is the code that runs the system. The practical side is just as real. Cause and effect in daily life. Sleep poorly. You weaken the system. Eat without awareness. You dull clarity. Skip your word once. You fracture self-trust. Each cause multiplies into chains of effect, visible and invisible. When you master small causes, great outcomes become predictable. Spiritually, discipline is devotion to cause. It is saying, I trust that every right effort plants energy into the unseen, and that energy must return, multiplied. When you act from this awareness, the waiting becomes calm. You no longer chase outcomes, you command them through consistency. Here is the paradox. Creation feels magical, but it is mathematical. The equation never lies. Every action is an input. Every delay is an output. You are not being tested. You are being mirrored. To align fully with this law, live as if the universe is watching every micro-choice. Because it is. Every act of discipline tells the field, stability is my signal. Every act of laziness tells it, chaos is acceptable. The universe is neutral, but your frequency is not. Once you understand this, discipline becomes sacred, not just about effort, but about alignment. You begin to feel that every time you sit down to work, breathe through distraction, or finish what you start, you are tuning your frequency to the same wavelength as creation itself. You are not just doing tasks, you are co-writing reality. Conclusion. The return to power. Everything you've learned, every chapter, every principle, every repetition, has been leading you back to one realization. You were never powerless. You were only unfocused. The strength you've been searching for isn't found in books, gurus, or systems. It's been pulsing quietly beneath your hesitation, waiting for command. Discipline is the key that unlocks it, but what it truly opens is remembrance. You are remembering what it feels like to trust yourself completely. When you trust yourself, doubt dissolves. When doubt dissolves, energy flows. When energy flows, creation accelerates. That is the divine sequence of all mastery. From thought to action to embodiment. You become a living signal of what you once only admired. Look at the arc of your own evolution. Once, you waited for motivation. Now, you move without it. Once, you looked for signs. Now, you create them. Once, you feared resistance. Now, you recognize it as proof that growth is near. This is not just improvement. It's awakening. You've learned that the mind can be trained, the body can be commanded, and energy can be directed. You've seen that every moment offers two doors, one of comfort, one of creation. Each time you choose the second, you are rewriting destiny in real time. And here lies the truth most people never grasp. Life will always meet you at the level of your self-discipline. Not because discipline makes you superior, but because it makes you available. It keeps your channel clear, your energy aligned, and your focus unbroken long enough for opportunity to find you. The universe is not slow. It's precise. It waits for coherence, for the moment when your frequency matches the life you say you want. Discipline is how you create that match. So from this moment forward, stop waiting for inspiration. You are the source. Stop asking for signs. You are the signal. Stop wishing for the right moment. Every breath you take is the right moment, if you move through it awake. Do not strive to be perfect. Strive to be present. Every act of presence is a declaration. I am here. I am capable. I am ready. And when you live like that, awake, disciplined, aligned, life itself bends to meet you. You are not here to chase strength. You are here to remember that you already are it. Now go. Do the work. Face the resistance. Carry the light. And when your mind tries to whisper that you can't, smile, breathe, and answer. Watch me. If something you heard today shifted your perspective, Help it reach one more person who's ready for change. And if you want to keep growing with us, subscribe. This space will be here when you need it.